Open Your Eyes is brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.
Good morning. Welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right. I am John Palacio.
And I'm Marlene Cuellar, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Hey, it is a Wednesday, a beautiful one at that. At least here in the city, it's looking great. The weather seems beautiful. We'll be joining the forecaster shortly to let us know exactly what we should expect throughout this cool day today. But whatsoever your plans are, we hope that it all is going to be well. The forecaster is on the line. Good morning. And how are you today?
I'm good, you?
Excellent. We are doing A-OK because you've got some good news with the weather. So let's start it. The general situation, what should we expect? What's going on?
Okay, well, we have a slight decrease in moisture over the area this morning, except for over the south. There's still some cloudiness, some possible showers occurring over the south this morning.
All right, there we go. And I guess that was the 24-hour forecast?
Oh, yeah, generally we're expecting a few showers to occur most over the south and then isolated brief showers elsewhere.
All right, let's talk about the winds. Where should we feel them from?
Yeah, the winds will be from the east and northeast at 5 to 15 knots.
All right. And the temperatures for today, highs and lows?
Okay, high temperatures today will reach about 84 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 88 inland, and 76 in the hills. And the low temperatures tonight will range from 76 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 68 inland, and 64 in the hills.
All right. And we won't keep you too long. Tell us the extended forecast. What should we expect for the next few days?
Okay, we should expect similar weather continuing for the next few days, with showers to be generally isolated over the area, with a few more occurring over the south.
All right. Well, Angelia, we want to thank you so very much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hello?
Go ahead.
Yes, we want to inform the public that we're having our 8th National Climate Outlook Forum on Friday via virtual forum. That's from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Wow. Okay. Now, this is
Thank
cool.
you.
All right. Well, best of luck,
best
and we
of
hope
luck
we
to
get
you.
to find out more about it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
And there you had it. There you have it. Decrease in showers. Something that a lot of folks are actually happy about. Some folks might not be. But, hey, like they say, every second for a bouquet. That's the way it is. You didn't know that one, huh, George? But this is it's time. But it's that time of the morning whereby we move on for some motivation.
That's right. And it means it's time for our Eye Opener. And our Eye Opener taken from dailyom.com goes like this. We do not need to suffer or be in misery in this life in order to do well in the world. Many of us have a deep-seated belief that in order to do well in the world, we have to suffer and sacrifice. This commonly held idea stems from a certain mentality inherited from ancestors who came before us, who may have experienced this as true. Beliefs from our own past life experiences can also make an appearance in this lifetime. This is often the way in which false beliefs take hold and don't let go, even though they're no longer relevant. We must all live our own lives in our own time and learn what is true for us, because very few truths prove valid for all people all the time. If we're not manifesting and maintaining the abundance we know we deserve, then this issue is calling us to look into the hidden corners of our psyches and root out any remaining beliefs that tell us we must suffer and sacrifice in order to do well. Our efforts will take us one more step away from this energy-sapping belief that we no longer.
You know, there are a lot of people right now, from what I got from the eye opener, that would say, man, you're spoiling it for us, especially the older heads. I'll tell you why. Because you know how it is when it comes to beliefs. It was a way to corral folks, to put them probably in a corner, to let them not give trouble, to do what they want, what actually people wanted them to do. You know, beliefs from all the way back. You know, I hear the word ancestors here. From all the way back, there were always, you know, beliefs of so many things to come, or if you do this, that this is what's going to happen. To me, it's a form of suppression as well. It actually puts you, you know, in that misery. We do not need to suffer or be in misery in this life in order to do well in the world. Look, the world is an open place at this particular point, especially for where we live. And as long as we could continue to help each other out, as long as we continue to have an open mind, I think things can progress. That's my thought to it, Mar.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a very powerful eye-opener.
Very.
And I think that it's something that we don't, you know, think about it. How many times do you talk to someone and you say, how are you doing? Or what's wrong? And they say, oh, well, you know, this is happening, that is happening. They may say it or they may not, but you know, that's life. That's just it. You're supposed to suffer. And it's not necessarily the case. I think that we embrace this idea of, you know, it has to be a life full of constant challenges and negativity, when sometimes it's okay to say it's not.
Yeah.
And that you may be able to work through what you're going through, talk about what you're going through, or be able to find a solution that works best for you.
Yeah.
It's not just a blanket acceptance, but it does come, I think, from some of the older beliefs that it's just a matter of what we'll experience in life. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
There are going to be hardships.
Yeah.
It's just not settling and say, this is the way it's got to be.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
As you mentioned that, what comes to mind as well, folks would say, things must get bad before we get good. You know, so there must be some suffering before, you know, before things get better. Look, I'll tell you what, like I mentioned, man, it's about having that open mind. It is that. That's what the world has evolved into, about having that open mind, suffering.
I think we learn.
Yeah,
we learn.
We learn.
And we've learned that sometimes it is important to challenge your belief system.
Definitely.
Because many times it's inherited, not just from people who raise you, but also from the society that you live in.
But our efforts will take us one more step away from this energy-sapping belief that we no longer need. So, as of today, try to do away with some of the beliefs and try to move forward with an open mind. That's my conclusion there. But nonetheless, it is a Wednesday. We refer to it as Hump Day. We've got 3 lovely conversations to join up into this morning. As a matter of fact, as you know, we're 1 week away from municipal elections in this lovely country. March 3rd, 2021, municipal elections protocols. That's the conversation we'll be having, and we'll be joined by Josephine Tamai, who is the Chief Elections Officer at the Elections and Boundaries Department.
I know. 1 week away.
1 week.
Do you feel it?
Honestly, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I really and truly don't.
It's a strange election season. I mean, I got to say, general elections last year, we did see kind of a slow progression to getting that election energy going. But this time around, it's even slower. We've had, thankfully, the opportunity to do our Meet the Mayoral Candidate segment here on Open Your Eyes. So we've been venturing into discussions around municipal elections around the country.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of given us our own pulse here with that. But to know that we're exactly 1 week away, and you just, I mean, there's nothing that gives you that election buzz.
I think it falls on the political parties, or the parties, in terms of trying to get people into that election vibe. Look, we just came off of a big election a few months ago, and that was huge. And so now we're right there again. I think people might be exhausted. It might be an exhaustion. And
People like who? The political parties?
Probably the political parties, indeed. There were many blows, and because there were many blows, there must have been a scramble to try and get people together. So at this particular point, they might not know, or might not feel that oomph of trying to have, or having to push out. I'm just saying, this is how I feel.
Yeah. Well, it has been interesting, and I think the conversations we've had with the mayoral candidates, quite a few of them actually applied for the position. So these are like jobs that they wanted to go after. There were a few conventions as well to get them to being at least for the mayoral slots, the mayoral candidates here in Belize City. We know there was the convention for the councillor slate as well.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep the conversations going about elections. And of course, we're going to have our all-day election coverage right here on Channel 5 next Wednesday. So when you open your eyes a week from now, it's going to be our decision show. So it's going to be really interesting. But I think that we've always known that when it comes to municipal elections, there's lesser energy in general than the general election, just because of the weight of the decision being made. But when you think about municipalities, especially outside of Belize City, this is very important for them. Who's going to run their town council, who's going to run their city council, and how, what party is it going to be, what person is going to be their mayor, and how they're going to guide the direction.
Definitely. We've seen some debates going on online among
You're right. PG
parties.
had a debate last
had
night.
A debate last
they were the
night.
only ones.
They had one last week as well.
With PG?
Yeah, in PG.
Okay.
Among their candidates. Yes, I did.
How was it?
I had a PG.
Yeah, how was it?
It was actually very good. There were very good reviews as well, simply because these guys who are vying to lead their particular municipality or that particular municipality must make the pitch to the people. And I feel for me, being somebody from Punta Gorda, it is the way to go. This is the way you choose, because this is what I'm saying, this is what I want to do, and this is what we can collectively do. It was very well receptive. I wasn't tuned in last night, I didn't tune in last night, but at the same time, I'm sure it was great for that municipality.
And they have three mayoral candidates?
Yes, they do. They have three mayoral candidates, one for the PUP, one for the UDP, and one for the BPP.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, kudos to Punta Gorda, because we know that the attempt to get debates going before elections has been very difficult. And actually, for general elections, there was one in Dangriga, so the south. They're outshining everyone else and really allowing their people to get that first-hand experience. A debate, while many people may not necessarily buy into the idea, it's for your voters. Your voters get to see you neck to neck with your main opponent to find out just how you're thinking and what your plans are.
Yeah, I think in those municipalities, folks are actually asking for it because they want to, there we go, and organize.
There we go.
It's four of them.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. But organized by the Toledo First Movement. Yeah, Toledo First Movement, they organized that. People are actually asking for it.
Yeah.
People are actually, I feel at this particular point, tired of political parties just making this pitch. We need to vote we feel that we need to get somebody who we know are capable or is capable of doing the job. But tell us what you are going to do. Don't show us your political color.
That's right. So, like I said, kudos to Punta Gorda in getting their debate going. I think that's such a great progressive move. And we will be joined, I believe, by the PG mayoral candidates on Thursday, right, Shanice? We have the PG mayoral candidates on Thursday. Yes, that's right. That's where we're headed.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be able to hear from them directly as well. And we're gonna see what happens come Wednesday. It's several factors I think are gonna. Are people gonna come out due to COVID? Are people gonna come out, to vote in a municipal elections?
Yeah.
And by the end of the night and probably early morning, we'll be seeing who comes out victorious.
Yeah. Who will be the mayor and of course their councillors.
Yeah.
But I've got to say, while we're in a pandemic, the debate is definitely one of the ways to drive people out because they're actually making the pitch for the job. So I think that was a great thing. And again, I want to big up the Toledo First Movement for organizing that. So guys, all the very best to you. That's going to be our first conversation though. It's going to be about municipal elections coming up, what to do, how you could vote, what time you should be out there, stuff like that. It's going to be with Josephine Tamai, who is a Chief Elections Officer at the Elections and Boundaries Department.
All right, the second part of our show, don't forget, we are at that time where you need to turn in your income tax return.
I know.
And so if it's just been sitting at your desk or in your office, we're going to give you some tips as to how to finish completing that form, understanding some of the, there are always some challenges in being able to understand some of the deductibles and going through that process. So we're going to talk you through that in the second part of our show.
And of course, we'll be wrapping things up with folks from the Belmopan Cancer Society. Now they had some recent. They'll actually give us some update on recent events they held. Of course, fundraising.
Yeah.
As you know, it is something that we continue to fight against when it comes to cancer, and there are many efforts put in place to raise funds, and it is to help. So that's what we've got lined up on the table for today. But
of course, but it's also another big day, and I don't want it to go unnoticed. It is actually, today we're going to have the first batch of vaccines arriving in country.
yes.
And, you know, we have talked so much about COVID. I think it's so important that we're able to acknowledge that this is this is the step towards the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
Not going to happen immediately, but such an important step. So the first batch is going to be 1,000 vaccines. These actually come from Barbados, and we're told that it's going to be the AstraZeneca vaccine. Barbados received these vaccines from India, and they have shared it with some of their Caribbean brothers and sisters. So we got a batch of 1,000. There is the allotment from COVAX that comes in end of March, early April.
Yeah.
That's going to be a far bigger amount, and they will begin that rollout. But I mean, we are just shy of 11 months since we detected our first case.
Yeah,
and we are going to be getting our first batch of vaccines.
I was thinking about it this morning. We've come a long way as a nation at this particular point when it comes to the active cases in our country that is being reported every day except on Sundays, but we were actually prompt on that. We're at 156 active cases of coronavirus in our country, which of course is a major big breakthrough. And we could see that, of course, when it comes to the vaccines, it is a breakthrough. I'll tell you why. I love watching the NBA. And now people are actually going into the stadiums. So they are now bringing in fans. They keep it at a minimum, but at the same time, we know for a fact that if it weren't for vaccinations being done there, then this wouldn't have been possible. So we know that this is working.
Yeah. I mean, we do have lots of questions to get answered as well.
Yes.
The first 1,000 batch, who's going to get them? They're single doses, and AstraZeneca is actually a 2-dose vaccine. So do you give 1,000 people and wait for the next batch to come in? Because there is some time you wait for the second dose. Do you give 500 and save the extra 500? Will it be first healthcare workers? Which healthcare workers? Public, private? So there are lots of questions to answer, but let's just take a moment to acknowledge that in this unprecedented journey of maneuvering through a pandemic, we in Belize are finally at the phase that we've gotten our first batch. And
So we're looking forward to all that, and of course, coming up in the week, we should be having these conversations rolled out.
Of course.
All right. So we're about to take that break. Just before we do, I want to send a belated birthday greeting to my buddy Lucian Chung. Happy birthday to you, my buddy. Belated birthday, and it comes from the entire family, your Rotary family, your brother's family, and of course your lovely girls. Wishing you all the very best. Happy belated birthday.
I'll take a moment to say happy birthday to my aunt as well, Fidelia Gomez. Love you so much. Do have a fantastic day, and we hope everyone treats you super special.
All right. So we're about to take the break. When we come back, we'll be discussing March 3rd, 2021 municipal elections. Stay with us. We'll be back.
Es un hecho que puedes obtener servicios ilimitados con Smart. ¿Cansado de que se corte la línea cuando más necesitas estar conectado? Es un hecho que cuando te suscribes al plan de Smart Plus, obtienes llamadas, textos y datos ilimitados. Y también es un hecho que te puedes suscribir con un grupo de 5 miembros al plan Smart Share y hasta 40 miembros al plan Smart Enterprise para llamadas, textos y datos ilimitados. Smart tiene los verdaderos planes ilimitados. Es un hecho. Sé Smart y vive de forma Smart.
Hola, Tony. Hey, Kevin, ¿qué onda? ¿Qué pasa? Nada, le vine a buscar porque necesito comprar más mercancías de vasos y platos desechables para mi tienda de comestible. Me estoy quedando sin esas cosas.
No, hombre, fíjate que desde el 15 de abril no puedo importar nada de eso. Y se me acaba de terminar todo lo que tenía hace como 3 semanas.
Oye, pero nunca has estado sin esas cosas. ¿Qué está pasando?
Mira esto. Esta es la nueva ley que prohíbe todo el uso de plásticos no reutilizables. Esos son vasos, platos, cucharas, tenedores, todo eso. Desde 15 de abril de este año no he podido importar nada de eso. A partir del 15 de enero del 2021 nadie puede fabricarlo. 15 de abril 2021 nadie lo puede vender. Y a partir del 14 de julio del 2021 si alguien te agarra con eso, te multan.
Híjole, no sabía eso. Necesito cambiar algunas cosas. Les diré a mis clientes por qué esas cosas ya no están disponibles. Gracias, Antonio.
Así es, cuídate, man.
Keeping safe from COVID-19 at your workplace requires 100% teamwork. You can keep earning while keeping yourself and others safe by doing some basic things. Wear a face mask at all times in the workplace unless you are alone in your own private space or office. Wash your hands frequently or utilize alcohol-based hand sanitizers and avoid touching your face. Disinfect surfaces like doorknobs, tables, desks, and handrails regularly. Increase ventilation by opening windows or adjusting air conditioning. Limit visitors and deliveries to the workplace and use appointments where possible. Attend meetings virtually as much as possible, and when not possible, hold meetings in open, well-ventilated spaces or rooms that allow for everyone to be 6 feet apart. Stay at home if you or a family member at home are feeling sick, or if you have been in contact with someone who tested positive for COVID-19. Keeping the workplace safe also requires that employees act responsibly when away from work. Practice social distancing and good hand washing hygiene. Avoid large gatherings and avoid unnecessary exposure to others. Protecting others means protecting yourself. Together, we can defeat COVID.
In partnership with the British High Commission.
I said, oh my God, you know what? I'm going to tell them my story.
Belizeans will once again go to the polls on March 3rd for municipal elections 2021. Channel 5 will bring you all-day live coverage from all 9 municipalities. Our nationwide correspondents and in-studio analysts will provide you with up-to-date reports and commentary from 6 a.m. until the last vote is counted and results declared. Municipal Elections 2021, Wednesday, March 3rd, live on Channel 5 and on our Facebook and YouTube pages.
$675,853 can be all yours with just one $2 Mega Bingo ticket. Don't miss your chance to win it all. Catch the next show airing on Wednesday, February 24th, live on Channel 5, Wave Radio, and Radio Bahia at 8 p.m. You can also tune into the game on YouTube and Facebook. Just log in and search for Belize Mega Bingo. Over $675,000 might just have your name on it, so don't let this opportunity pass you by. You might just be the next jackpot winner. Mega Bingo is the game.
Love is a connection that should last forever. This February, NextGen is sharing the love with amazing promo deals for everyone. Reconnect or install with NextGen for free. Sign up for our affordable cable and high-speed internet plans and get 1 month free on your acquired service. But that's not all. New and reconnecting customers can now receive 1 month free MyTV subscription when you sign up with us anytime in February. Some restrictions apply. For more information on our promotions and services, contact us at 0800-222-5388 or via our social media platforms. NextGen, powered by Central TV and Internet.
Welcome back to Open Your Eyes. We're now moving into our first segment for the morning. Like we mentioned to you earlier, March 3rd, 2021, 1 week away, means or it spells municipal elections across the country. Now, we're about to chit-chat about that. We've got Josephine Tamai, who was the Chief Elections Officer at the Elections and Boundaries Department. Josephine, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, and thank you guys for having me.
It's always nice to have you. We're so thankful you could join us for this morning. But let's get on into it. March 3rd is going to be a big day. But at the same time, we just left one a few months ago. What is the atmosphere like at the department, at the Elections and Boundaries Department?
Well, I'll tell you, since the last election, our staff has been going in terms of preparing for municipal election because it's a set date, so we normally know when municipal elections are due. So even though we know that we had election in November last year, we knew that an election was coming. So staff managed to get a little time off in the month of December, but not much. And so we're back at it again for some months now in terms of preparing for the municipal election. And you know that we also have the by-election for the Corozal Bay Electoral Division as well on the 3rd of March.
Yeah. I can't say that it is first, but tell us about, and I'd like for the public to know what the preparation process is like from the Elections and Boundaries Department, especially with respect to Corozal's situation.
Okay. Well, we know that when it comes to a by-election, that is for a specific constituency, and in this case, it's specifically for the Corozal Bay Electoral Division. So that election is conducted similar to a general election. All the rules and regulations that pertain to the general election applies for a by-election. So persons in Corozal Bay Electoral Division, those persons will be eligible to vote for 2 elections. They will vote in the Corozal Bay by-election and also for the Corozal Town municipal elections. So that is specifically for persons for Corozal Bay.
Will they be voting in 2 separate locations, or will it be a shared ballot?
Okay, I'll start off with the figures, because I can tell you that for Corozal Bay Electoral Division, we have a total of 5,712 persons who are eligible to vote in that election. We have polling area 39 and polling area 40. Those are the polling area numbers that makes up Corozal Bay. So persons who will vote specifically at those locations will be voting in one classroom. They will do the voting in the one classroom for both elections. There are separate ballot papers. You have separate returning officers and election clerks, separate election officers as well. But when it comes to that process, voters will go in one line. Voting will first happen for the municipal election. So persons will vote first for the municipal election. We know that for Belize City, municipal elections, persons will vote for 1 mayor and 10 councillors. In Belmopan City and all the towns, including Corozal Town, persons can vote for 1 mayor and 6 councillors. So for Corozal Bay, those persons will be able to vote for 1 mayor and 6 councillors first. So the process basically is similar to what we did for the general elections. Persons going inside the polling stations will be sanitized prior to going inside of those stations. When they go into that station, we're encouraging persons to take along their voter's ID card. I must mention that it is not mandatory. Persons are allowed to vote without their ID card. But in order to facilitate the process, to speed up the process, we want to ask persons to please take their identification cards, because those persons will be identified. Once they have been identified and their name is on the voters list or in the electoral binder, then that person will be allowed to proceed to dip their right index finger to the first joint in the indelible ink. Once that has been done, the voter will then proceed to the presiding officer to get his or her ballot paper. They will go behind the voting booths, and when they get the ballot paper, they will also be issued with a sanitized pencil, because remember again, the COVID-19 protocols are very, very critical in these elections. So those must be maintained at all times. So they will be given a sanitized pencil along with their ballot paper to go behind the booth to mark their X. I will repeat again, for the town councils and specifically for Corozal, you vote for 1 mayor and 6 councillors. So once you have placed your X beside the name of the candidates who you wish to vote for, that person will then fold their ballot paper in order to conceal their votes, because your vote must be secret. But at the same time, to show the presiding officer his or her initial. So it's the initial of the presiding officer that they will show, and then put that ballot in the ballot box. For Corozal Bay, once that process has been done, they will not exit as yet. They will proceed to the opposite side of the same polling station inside the same classroom. Will proceed to the poll clerk for their names to be marked off the register for the Corozal Bay by-election. So their names will be marked off that register. And then they continue the same similar process. But in this case, for the by-election, they're entitled to vote for 1 candidate only. And also what they will notice that when they go inside the classroom for the Corozal Bay Electoral Division, they will be sanitized again, their fingers will be sanitized, but this time they will dip their right middle finger. So it's 2 separate fingers, 2 separate inks, 2 separate ballot papers, and 2 separate lists that the names will be marked off from. Because like I said, it's 2 separate elections.
And it's 2 voting processes. So they'll go through the same cycle, the polling clerk, the dipping, the sanitizing, the voting, all of these things. And then they go back around again to do the second round for the by-election.
Just that they don't need to join another line. They'll be in that same classroom. And the reasoning behind having the voting first for the municipal election is because we know that voting will take longer for persons to mark 7 X's as opposed to 1 X. So you don't want for inside of the classrooms to be congested. Right? So that's the rationale for voting for the municipal election first in this case. So until that is completed, then the voter will exit the polling station and then leave.
And so that would be specific for Corozal Town, where they will be voting for both their town council as well as if they're registered in the Corozal Bay area, then they would also vote in that by-election there as well.
Right. And when I mentioned the polling stations, right? I mentioned the polling station numbers 39 and 40. So persons at St. Francis Xavier RC School, Corozal Methodist School, and St. Paul's Anglican School, those are the only persons who will be eligible to vote for the by-election and for the Corozal Town municipal election.
And while in other municipalities, it's going to be just the simple process of going in and voting for 1 group of persons. Now, municipal elections always comes with, I know, the challenges that you anticipate. You have a number of boxes there. There is a limit to the number of people you can vote for. Let's talk about some of the common mistakes that people make, whether intentional or not, on their ballot sheets.
Okay. I want to advise persons that when it comes to the municipal elections or any election, you must ensure that you vote for the number of seats that are vacant. I will tell you that, again, for Belize City, so voters for Belize City can vote for 1 mayor and 10 councillors. You can vote for less if you so choose, but you cannot vote for more seats that there are. For Belmopan City and the towns, all 7 towns, you vote for 1 mayor and 6 councillors only, not for more. Your ballot paper will not be counted. It will be rejected, and I'll give you the reasons.
Okay.
It's considered void if it does not have the presiding officer initial on it.
Okay.
So when you're given a ballot paper, ensure the presiding officer places his or her initial on that ballot paper. Again, your ballot paper will not be counted and it will be void if you vote for more candidates than there are seats. So 1 mayor, 10 councillors for Belize City, 6 for Belmopan City and towns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, your ballot paper
And
will...
it's very common that people vote for more than the number that they're supposed to.
Yes, sometimes. Sometimes,
And
right?
it's completely void if you have more than 10 or more than 7.
We have what we call rejected in part ballots. Because we know that for the town councils, it's 1 ballot paper. The top portion, the first name is the mayoral candidate.
Yes.
Right? So let's say, for example, a person chooses to vote for 1 mayor. But they decide, in the case of Belize City, to vote for 11 councillors. Then the mayoral portion will be accepted and will be counted because it's clear who they are voting for.
Okay.
But because they voted for more candidates than there are seats, then the councillor section will be declared void.
Wow.
That part will be rejected.
Okay.
Right? So that's a rejected in part ballot paper.
Okay.
So in Belize City, if you go above 10, it will be rejected.
Right, above 10 councillors.
Above 10 councillors.
Right,
If
it will be
in
rejected.
the municipalities, the other municipalities, including Belmopan, you go beyond 6, that will be rejected.
Rejected, right.
If you have less, what happens then?
If
What
you
if I
have
choose
less,
1
then
councillor?
if you have less, then that will be counted.
Okay.
Because it's clear who you want to vote for. Because some people don't want to vote for all the candidates or can't make up their mind who they want to vote for. But we want to encourage persons to ensure you have a say in all the seats that are vacant.
Yeah.
Right? So again, your ballot paper will be rejected if it's not marked for any candidate. Because if it's not marked, then there's nothing to count. You don't have any indication. And if the ballot paper contains any mark that can identify the voter, because remember, at the end of the day, your ballot must be secret. Your vote must be secret.
Okay. And to clarify as well, being that you'll have for various parties, you can and there are, let's say, for the councillors, right? I could strike an X for red, or I could strike an X for blue, so I could mix it up, but make sure that I've got make sure that I've got the amount of seats.
Right. Just make sure you don't exceed the number of seats that are vacant.
Okay.
Right? And also, if your ballot paper is unmarked for uncertainty, then that ballot paper will be rejected because they won't be able to determine who you want to vote for.
Okay.
Because remember that persons will put their X on the right-hand side in the space allotted.
Yes.
So you place your X for the candidate for who you choose to vote for. The candidate or candidates.
Okay.
But it's critical that you don't go over the amount of seats that are available. That is very, very important. Otherwise, their ballot will not be counted. It will be rejected.
Okay.
So that's all critical information for people to know as they vote. But tell us now about some of the things that will happen when the polls close.
Okay, but before I go into that, Marlene, I just want to mention that, let's say, for example, you're given a ballot paper, and for some reason you make an error on that ballot paper.
Yes.
You can return that ballot paper to the presiding officer. That presiding officer will cancel that ballot paper and issue a new ballot paper to you. as long as it has not been placed in the ballot box. Because once that ballot paper is in the ballot box, then you cannot return the ballot paper anymore.
Okay, so that's clear.
Right?
If you make,
that's clear. That's a spoiled ballot paper.
okay, so if you make a mistake and you want to vote, but you know that you made a mistake, before you put that ballot into that box, you can go and get a new one.
Right. You just go to the presiding officer, inform the presiding officer that you spoiled the ballot paper. The presiding officer will retrieve that, mark cancel on it. They have a special envelope that those are put into, and they will issue you with a new ballot paper.
All right.
Okay.
Clear.
Okay. And when the polls close?
Okay. When polls close, if you notice, we have already published the counting stations, the polling stations as well. Counting will be happening simultaneously. So once the poll is closed, reconciliation process takes place because you know that you have to account for every single ballot paper that was issued. So once the polls close, remember you also have the agents of the political parties and the candidates in those polling stations. So they know exactly, let's say, for example, if you were given 400 ballot papers, when you're reconciling, you must account for those 400 ballot papers inside of that were given to you. So that reconciliation process will commence. We have some boxes that will be moved because if you look at the counting stations, some of them will be happening right at some of the polling stations. But in other cases, some of the boxes will have to be moved to one central location in those areas. So once those boxes are moved, then the counting will start. Political agents will be at the counting station as well to ensure that the process is transparent and to see exactly what is happening throughout the counting process. So again, we have the public officers because we know that the public officers are the persons who actually conduct election on election day. Those persons are appointed to perform those duties. So those are the persons who will be doing the counting. Again, they have to account for every single ballot paper. They will separate those ballot papers into the solid votes and the split votes, because like we mentioned before, persons have an option to decide if they want to vote straight down the line by party, if they want to split their vote, vote for different parties, different candidates. It is their choice as long as they do not exceed the number of seats that are vacant.
So this counting process, explain it to us. You go first with looking at people who selected for full slates and put those aside, then go back to the mixed ballots?
Right, because it's much faster. Right? So those, again, will be bundled by 25s so that it's easy reconciliation, easy counting process. And once those are accounted for, you have the counting clerks, and you also have the political parties agents who are also doing their tally. So once that is true, then persons will accept the numbers that are there because fortunately you have from different parties. So you're all tallying, and then we ask those persons to sign off on those forms. Right? So once that is agreed, then we know for that specific box. Again, once you have that, that is only for one box. The returning officers and election clerks will have to put all the information from all of the boxes together in order for them to tally the entire number of votes. So you will notice when we publish results for a municipal election, you will see that you have so many votes as opposed to ballot papers. And again, because persons can vote for various number of persons. So it's not because you have 10,000 ballot papers issued that you will have 10,000 votes. You will have much more than 10,000. You can have 7 or 11 times the amount. Right? So again, even the counting takes much longer than a general election. So I'll tell you in terms of results, we have some areas, for example, in Punta Gorda, whereby it's a small town, so we expect to get those results at least maybe by midnight. But we're looking at Belize City, we might not get those official results until way into the early morning of the 4th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now that depends though on voter turnout. And one of the things we hear anecdotally, or I think the numbers show for itself, is that voter turnout for municipal elections traditionally has been lower than what you would see in a general election. Give us, give us an indicator as to the difference that you would see in numbers based on the past.
Well, yes, like you rightly said, in terms of the voter turnout, it's much less. But we want to encourage persons, I want to encourage voters. You have a right to cast your vote and to determine who will be your elected council for your various municipalities. So come out and cast your vote. Because if you don't come out and vote, somebody else will make that decision for you. Because we know that it goes by the majority. So those persons who cast their vote, they will make a decision for you if you decide not to go. So, and I want to assure the voters that we are making it as safe as possible for persons to come out and vote. We know that COVID-19 is here. We know that persons are required to use their masks. Social distancing must be maintained, the 6 feet social distancing. The washing of hands and the sanitizing of their hands. So again, those are areas that we will ensure we have persons doing the sanitizing for you. But the Ministry of Health has also asked us to emphasize and to encourage persons to use their mask properly, because some people will have on their mask, but they're not utilizing the mask properly.
Under the nose.
And that is essential. So we can do our part, but we have to ask voters to do their part as well.
It is a custom that you see political parties setting up tents in the vicinity of polling stations. Will they be able to do that? And what are the requirements?
Well, when it comes to the 100 yards line, I will tell you that the police will ensure that they monitor those very, very closely. We know that since the last general election, people have been saying, well, it's the crowding that happened. It's not necessarily the voting process that there was a spike, but people are saying that it's because of the crowding that happened before, even the gatherings after, and those sorts of things. So I'll tell you that the police will be there to ensure that persons are not breaking the law, because again, remember, we have regulations in place in terms of the social distancing, how many persons can gather at one location. So again, those will be enforced on that day. It's not to say that the police will be there to arrest persons as either, but we have to do our part, and everybody has to be responsible for their actions.
So what are some of the lessons that you learned from the last election, especially when it comes to maintaining the COVID protocols?
Right. So one of the things that we're emphasizing even more this time around, because persons will say, but why do I have to remove my face mask in order for me to be identified? We know that yes, it's an election and you can't have persons voting in the name of other persons. So it's very, very critical that persons remove their face mask. But we're asking voters, and even we're asking the election workers, when the voter has the mask removed, there should be absolutely no speaking at that point in time. So the person without the mask should not be speaking any at all. And the election worker should not be asking questions to that person either. Also, one of the other areas that we're going to emphasize is to ensure that once the finger is sanitized, we're asking persons to ensure that the finger is dried at least for 5 seconds before dipping it inside of the indelible ink. Because if it doesn't dry properly, then people start to complain that the ink is being removed very quickly. So again, those are areas we're emphasizing this time around, even more so than the last time.
What time do the polls open and close?
Okay, polls will open at 7 a.m. and close at 6 p.m. So we want to encourage persons to make sure that you're in the line by 6 p.m. Once you are in the line at your polling station, you will be allowed to cast your votes.
Now, when we look at the spike that occurred after the last election, I know that's a big fear that people have. Maintaining control within the polling station is one thing, but there's also the lines outside, the tents that are set up. Talk to us about the responsibilities involved here and who's in charge.
Okay, when it comes to an election, the returning officer is the person who is in charge of the entire municipality, or in the case of Corozal Bay, for the Corozal Bay Electoral Division. So in terms of hierarchy, you have the returning officers, you have the election clerks who are assistants to the returning officers. The returning officer can delegate any of his or her duties to the election clerk. Inside of the polling stations now, you have the presiding officers. The presiding officers are the persons who manage those polling stations. So they are in charge of those polling stations. So they make the decisions in terms of movement of persons, how many persons can come in at a time, who is allowed to be inside of those polling stations. That is the duty of the presiding officers. And then we have the poll clerks who will mark the names from off the list or who will check the names in the binder. And again, the presiding officer can also delegate some of those duties to the poll clerks as well. We have the police officers, but police officers on that day, they are there to act on instructions from the presiding officer, the election clerks, or the returning officers.
All right. And looking forward to the day itself, we know that there may be some changes in the regulations for COVID. They actually expire right before the election, and we don't quite know what the rules will be. But there are some standard rules we can expect. That's the no alcohol sale.
Right. And I will tell you that as opposed to general election, the no alcohol rules for a municipal election goes up until counting has been concluded. So if counting concludes 3, 4 o'clock the following day, the law for alcohol goes up until that time. So it's not until midnight. Mind you, I know that persons don't necessarily have license to be selling alcohol those hours of the day, but the law is even more stringent when it comes to the hours for the sale of alcohol for municipal elections.
Okay, so you made it clear that
the curfew, we're not quite sure as yet. Have you been informed as to whether or not we'll still be on the curfew?
We're not certain at this point. We're waiting for the laws to be looked at, and I think it expires on the 2nd.
Yeah,
so I think that we should be getting some more information more or less that time. But I will tell you, even if there's a curfew in effect, similar to what was done for the general election, public officers and the agents will be allowed to be moving around because we are definitely certain that the counting will go beyond the curfew hours. But again, the police will be informed of those. They have those, will have names of those persons who will be out, even for the media, because we know that the media is not allowed inside the 100 yards line. The media is not allowed inside of the counting stations. But we also need to rely on the media to get the information out to persons, because people go out and vote and they want to hear the results. But if they're not allowed to be out, then we have to rely on the media to get that information to them. So again, the media will be allowed. We'll be giving the IDs for the media houses so that persons can be able to pass out the results for us.
All right. Well, you've made it clear, Ms. Josephine, you've made it clear of the what to do and what not to do on election day, which is only 1 week away, municipal election day actually, which is only 1 week away. Is there anything that you've missed that you'd like to share with us?
The only thing I would like to mention, because what we did this time around as well was to even cut down further on the number of persons who are voting in any specific polling station, because we realized that yes, it takes longer to vote for a municipal election than for a general election, because remember you have to put 7 X's or 11 X's.
Okay.
So what we did, we tried to make some changes in some of the areas, and I specifically speak to, for example, in Punta Gorda. So voters from polling area 109, which is the Indianville area, those persons will now go to St. Benedict RC School, which is right within the Indianville area. They will no longer need to go to St. Peter Claver RC School as they had to do in the past.
Okay.
So we're making it even easier for persons to come out and vote.
All right.
Again, in Dangriga for polling area 95, we have voters from the first new site, second new site, third new site, and this includes the monument sites, George Price Boulevard and George Price Drive. Okay. Those persons will now vote at the Lille Academy. Okay. So they don't have to go all the way to Holy Ghost School to cast their votes.
Okay. That's a great change.
Right? So those are areas, like I said, every time we conduct election, we look to see how best we can facilitate, because we want persons to come out and vote. It is very important for persons to cast their vote and for them to have a say in what happens in their various municipalities.
All right. Josephine Tamai, thank you so very much for providing to us clarity of what to do and what not to do on March 3rd, 2021 municipal elections. Here's to wishing you a very good day. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, and stay safe indeed.
Yeah. Same to you all.
All right. And there you had it. That was the update on the protocols that we can expect for the upcoming municipal elections on Wednesday. But before we go to our break, we do have a breaking video to share with you. As of this morning, the 1,000 single-dose AstraZeneca vaccines have arrived in country.
Wow.
And we are going to be we're going to be getting more information during the course of the day as to what the plans are with this first 1,000 doses that we got. But we do have, in fact, an update from the Minister of Health and Wellness, Michelle Shabat, talking about this recent donation.
Since my appointment as the Minister of Health and Wellness last November, my mandate and personal commitment has been to reduce the infection rate of the COVID-19 virus countrywide. We immediately set about to include medical experts, both in private practice and in the public sector, to provide us with the best advice on how to accomplish this. The strategy devised included a decentralization and broad-based testing, reduction of waiting time to obtain test results, introduction of ivermectin and remdesivir, as well as convalescence plasma in our arsenal in this war against COVID-19. These, coupled with our varied public health measures and public education, has led us from an average of 200 daily positive results when we started to less than 20 per day. I am happy to announce today the arrival of this first amount of vaccines for our people. While it is a small amount of vaccines, it is a big step for us to confront and continue the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. To this end, I wish to thank the government and people of Barbados for their kind and generous donation of these vaccinations. As we have committed, these vaccines will be distributed to our healthcare workers throughout our country. Vaccines save lives, and I believe in the COVID-19 vaccine. I will take the vaccine when it's my turn and urge you to take it too. When your turn comes, get vaccinated. Be COVID-19 safe.
Technology is ubiquitous, and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Fulltech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere, satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.
In these challenging times, the one thing that is certain is that the Belize Bank Limited is here for you. There is nothing more important than your health and safety, and we continue to make every effort to make banking safer for you. Our staff is working around the clock to make sure you can do your banking conveniently 24/7 using our mobile banking app and online banking and keeping ATMs up and running. We value your relationship with us and are here to provide the support you need. First responders are also out there 24/7. Thank you, healthcare workers, security forces, firefighters, caregivers. You are all appreciated. Stay safe. We will get through this together. The Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
Abigail.
Yes, Gran?
Abigail, I can't breathe well.
Granny, we need to go to the hospital to get you checked out.
No! I'm fine.
Yes, Gran, we need to go now to get you treated. Now, before it's too late.
No, 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 no.
Grandma, we need to go for all of us.
No, no, no.
Stop. If you are having flu-like symptoms, please call us immediately for medical guidance. If you have chronic conditions such as diabetes and you're experiencing symptoms such as shortness of breath or chest pain, please also seek medical attention immediately. We've lost a lot of people this year. We don't want to lose you too. Please seek help if necessary. Call us at 0800-664-2273. Continue to wear your mask at all times. Keep physical distance when in public and stay at home unless absolutely necessary. This message has been brought to you by the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
I said, oh my God, you know what? I'm going to tell them my story.
At the moment, I may have been devastated, but looking back now, it's the best thing that ever happened.
I like to see the opportunity in every problem, and that's what keeps me going every day.
I wanted my work to have a different voice, to have a different narrative, to have to impact on the global conversation.
Back just like that. We're now moving into our second segment for this morning, and this one is a conversation that surrounds employees' income tax return process. Now we've got a rep from the Belize Tax Service. Actually, Michelle Brown is in with us from the Belize Tax Service. Michelle, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Palacio. How are you?
I am doing great, and it's always nice to see you. It's always nice to have you.
Thank you, thank you.
And it's not always our happiest topic, though.
Yeah.
I know.
But it is that time of year, and this is what we do as responsible citizens in being able to file our tax returns. And the deadline is very quickly approaching, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
All right.
The deadline for filing the employee tax return is the end of March, which will be the 31st of March. So we implore on all employees when they receive their TD4 to fill out the form, which would be the BTS 203, the employee return form, fill it out, and attach their TD4 that their employer provided, along if they're receiving a refund, along with a copy of their social security card, their banking information, an active bank, let's be specific when we speak to that, an active bank account, and ensure that every detail of the form is correct.
Okay. So you stressed on an active bank, simply saying that some people are actually just putting a bank account on there?
Correct. And what we have found is that employees submit their returns with a banking information that is not active. For instance, they won't use their bank account that their salary is being deposited into, but another one that they probably know that they have, for example, Atlantic Bank. However, they haven't used that bank account for quite a while. And so with that being the problem, by the time we go to process a refund, the bank account won't be active and that refund will be rejected. So we implore on them to give us an active recent bank account, which will ensure that the process runs a little more smoothly.
Michelle, let's go back a little. The importance of paying your taxes. Why would we say that is important? And a lot of people don't like to have the conversation, but it is important to know.
Correct. It is important to pay our taxes because at the end of the day, the taxes run our country. We collect taxes to do the infrastructure for our country. It also ensures that the health system is up and running. All our tax contribute to our economy in itself. So we implore on all taxpayers, whether it's employees, whether it's business owners, that we have to pay our fair share in order to ensure that our economy is run correctly.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the common errors that people make when they're doing their returns.
Yeah, the TD4.
So it can be confusing for some people. I think some people love doing this kind of forms. But tell us about some of the things we can help people to get through.
Okay, we won't say the common error. Let's say that the employee return starts from the employer filing their TD4 summary correctly. A lot of our issues in giving back refunds is that some employers are not reconciled. And let me expand a little more on what reconciliation means to the tax department. Because what happened, employees believe that the minute the employer submits their summary, that everything is okay. However, when that summary is submitted, and which I may state that the deadline for that is the 1st of March, where employers should submit their TD4 summary along with all the TD4 for their employees, they need to ensure that everything that is on the summary, the emoluments, the taxes withheld, it comes back or comply with what was paid for the year. It's a basic check and balance. However, when we put these information into our system, if our system does not matches back with what the employer submitted, that is where the reconciliation process has a bottleneck. So we try to contact back these employers, and we know with the pandemic we have been facing more issues because businesses have been closed. They're not able to get their documents because they're working from home. So that has posed a little problem with us completing some of the reconciliation. So actually the whole process starts at that point, whereby these need to be reconciled.
Yeah.
Once that's reconciled and everything is in order, we input that into our system. Once that is correct and fitted, then the employee file their return at the end of March, which we also employ that all employees file regardless of the reconciliation process, because we have some employees that has debits they owe. And once they pass that deadline, they have penalty and interest that is added.
Wow.
Right? So we try to employ on them to file early.
Even if it balances out, you should still submit?
Yes, yes. The minute the employer submit that TD4 summary to us, they can, once they receive it from their employer, they come in and they submit their employee income tax return.
Okay, all right. So that provides some clarity.
I was going to ask, so I know one of the areas that you get a lot of questions is looking at the issue of deductibles. So there are things that you can file for in your return if you've perhaps helped a family member through school, if you've given charitable donations to other organizations. Talk to us about how people can be able to understand what they can include and how to include it.
Okay, yes, we do have the charitable. We have the charitable donations, whether it's to sport organization, that is a charitable organization. You also have your tithes to the church. These can be added, and actually we have that at line 31 on the form. If you're claiming $2,000 for charitable, say tithes for that particular year, what we do, there is a formula that is used. It's either 1/6 of your taxable income, or whichever is greater. Sometimes the 1/6 is far greater, so we will just accept the charitable donation that is presented on your receipt. Because let's be clear that when claiming these deductibles, you have to present proper documentation, which is a receipt from that charitable institution or a letter on their official letterhead stating that you have donated X amount of dollars for that particular year. When it comes to the educational contributions,
let me just ask one question. So if it's for church, for example, because I know people have asked, well, you give to church. If you put it in the collection bowl, there's no accountability. So you have to get something from your church to say you have been donating, and that would be submitted.
Correct, you do. You have to, usually they issue with a letter indicating the amount that you have contributed for that particular year, and then you submit that.
And what's the cap for that? You said 1/6?
1/6 of your taxable income, which would be line 20.
Okay.
All right.
And then sports and education. Let's talk about that one.
Sports is done similar to the tithes. So it's the same process whereby you have to provide your receipts or your letter from that institution, and it's the 1/6, similar to the tithes.
So if I buy jerseys for a team, does that count as a contribution to sports?
Correct, and they can give you a letter indicating that you have contributed X amount of dollars for that for that institution. And likewise, as you have there, for education is $400 per child and not more than 4 child for that particular year. So it's a maximum of $1,600.
But that's also that they can't be your child, and it can't be a child that lives with you.
Correct. It cannot be your child, and it cannot be a child that lives with you. So it could be a family member but not living with you. So they have several scenarios where that can account for when it comes to contributing for a child.
But you know what, there are many times, especially around this time, while you file your TD4, you get back a response saying that you owe. And people, you become flabbergasted at the thought that, man, how do I owe? How is this put into context so folks could understand as to why they owe or why they do not?
Okay, yes, that is a question that is asked several times, that how could we owe? Didn't the employer deduct the correct amount? Yes, we do have instances where you owe. As I can speak, even I end up owing, but this is because we have different personal relief. And that is where the debits or the debts come into play, because the minute, for example, if I earn $1,000 every month between January to June, that is taxable at, say, the personal relief of $25,600, right? Or $24,600. Then in July, I get an increment, my salary increase. That then put me in the other bracket, which is the $22,600. So from January to June, I have been paying at the $24,600 relief. However, come July, I get an increment which put me in the other bracket. So for that whole January to June, that is where your salary was under tax, and that is the portion where you end up owing on.
Yeah, when you have fluctuations in your income.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So I always tell people the minute you reach a final threshold of 19.6, there should be no reason why you should have a balance owing once the correct rate is being deducted from your salary. However, you also have persons who receive bonuses, they receive increments that were not deducted, the taxes were not deducted, that end up having them owing at the end of the year also.
Yeah.
So when we review their salary register, when we go through the information that they provide, then we can show them the reason why they end up owing.
Yeah, yeah. And so, you know, this is always one of the challenges in the process, and I want to ask how you've changed it with COVID times in collecting back the forms and also working along with people. I remember you used to set up a table and help people if they had any problems as they came in.
Okay, well, currently what we are doing, we receive a lot of these forms via email.
Oh.
So, yes, we encourage persons, they don't have to come in, we're accepting it via email.
Okay.
Once the sign is properly filled out, signed, all the documentation is sent in, we do accept those. And just to add that, just a little information is that coming July of this year, we are embarking on a new system. So that system will be more e-service friendly. So they can do everything online. You can view your account online. It will be much easier for all taxpayers across the board.
All right. I'm glad you're providing some clarity into to what it's like. Now, the open date and close date in terms of filing your TD4s.
Actually, as I explained, the employer deadline is 1st of March, which is next week, Monday.
Okay.
So some employees are already submitting in their forms because they already received their TD4. So from now until the 31st of March, employees have to submit their returns.
Okay.
The close date for that comes 1st April. If they have any balance outstanding, then the penalty and interest starts. However, if you have a refund, they can file whenever they see fit.
Well, we got to touch on that refund because you know what people are going to say, that they have to pay a penalty if they go past April 1st. But it takes quite a bit of time for that return to come the other way.
Yes, agree. And like I was explaining earlier, once these TD summary is submitted accurately, it's much easier for us to reconcile. As I said, when they submit it, it's a little process that we have to do in-house to get it balanced, entered into the system, and the minute that is entered into the system, we start processing these returns. So for those folks who probably wouldn't have received their return of late, it's because the employer has not completely reconciled, probably we're having issues. We are in communication with these employers to try and get the information that is required to complete the reconciliation as quick as possible. However, as I explained, with the pandemic, it's posing a little issue that we are not receiving the information as quickly as we would have wanted.
Okay, which leads me to the question that's that's circling in my mind, and I think a lot of people would say the same thing. Pandemic, there were cuts to salary. How is that going to correspond? What's going to happen there?
Okay, well, if there's cuts in salary, then the taxes should reflect evenly. Because if there are cuts, then your salary goes down, so your taxes go down. So that shouldn't pose an issue likewise. Because whatever's on your TD4 actually reflects what you actually received for that year. It does not include, I was receiving $1,500, so they will keep that on the form. If I was receiving 15 and now I'm receiving 1,000, then your TD4 should reflect that 1,000 and not the 1,500.
All right. There we go.
All right. And so what else can you encourage people? You said that you can also submit your form online. So what, you take a scanned copy and you send it in, and to what email address?
At info@bts.gov.bz.
Okay. And for us to check any other information, if you'd like to see how the process is done, where do we go?
You can go to our website at bts.gov.bz.
Okay. bts.gov.bz.
That's the email. bts.gov.bz. www.bts.gov.bz.
All right. All right.
And just to add a little more, as I would want to, like I started and said, where the process begins is with the employer.
Yeah.
I want to ask the employer, it's not hard for them to reconcile before they bring in the TD4 summary, because what I want to implore on them, whatever is they have paid for that year, for the months, should reflect back to the taxes that are put on these TD4. So once that is reflected as the same, there's no reason for us to have any problem when the reconciliation process starts.
And in the submission of your banking information, that makes the refund easier to deposit back to the employees, right?
Correct, because we do direct deposit.
Yeah.
When we do the refunds, it's in collaboration with the Treasury, because we don't issue them directly from here. We prepare the invoices, and then that is sent through our SmartStream system, whereby it is then approved and paid out by the Treasury. So the banking information is very important to ensure that they give us accurate information so that we don't have that delay, that the payment is being rejected at the end.
And then if you have to pay, if you have some money owed to the tax department, how do we get that there? Does it have to be in person still?
No, we do have payment through the Atlantic Bank or through the Belize Bank.
Okay.
So you can, if you have an Atlantic Bank account, you can inform us, and we communicate with Atlantic Bank so that they can enter you into the system so that you can make that payment online. Okay. And also we have the Belize Bank, and we have bank to bank, because we do have an account. I don't remember the account right now, but we do have an account whereby you do direct deposit to our account, and then we upload it, or we have the cashier do the uploading and payment here, and then we send out the receipts.
All right. Well, you provide us with the clarity we needed, and so if there's anything else you'd like to share with us, that now is a good time to.
Okay, like I said earlier, look forward to our new system coming soon, which will make things very much efficient and easier for taxpayers, whereby they can do everything online. And as I said, they can check their account, they can make payments online, they can send inquiries online. If they have new registration, they don't have to come in. Everything can be done online. So I want to ask all taxpayers out there, including the employers or business owners, to cooperate with us. We will have staff calling them, because we have to update our data at this moment, so that we can have an easy transition. So we will be calling taxpayers, asking them for minor information that probably we need for the new system. So to ask them to cooperate with us, give us information, so that at the end of the day, all of us, including them, will benefit from our new system.
All right. Well, we're so thankful to have you in,
Thank
Michelle.
you too.
Thank you so very much. Thanks for the information. Now we know what to do, how to do, and when to do.
Thank you.
There we go. We're about to take a break, though. When we come back, we'll be chit-chatting with representatives of the the Belmopan and Cancer Society, and they'll be giving us an update on recent events. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
In these challenging times, the one thing that is certain is that the Belize Bank Limited is here for you. There is nothing more important than your health and safety, and we continue to make every effort to make banking safer for you. Our staff is working around the clock to make sure you can do your banking conveniently 24/7 using our mobile banking app and online banking, and keeping ATMs up and running. We value your relationship with us and are here to provide the support you need. First responders are also out there 24/7. Thank you, healthcare workers, security forces, firefighters, caregivers. You are all appreciated. Stay safe. We will get through this together. The Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
Love is a connection that should last forever. This February, NextGen is sharing the love with amazing promo deals for everyone. Reconnect or install with NextGen for free. Sign up for our affordable cable and high-speed internet plans and get 1 month free on your acquired service. But that's not all. New and reconnecting customers can now receive 1 month free MyTV subscription when you sign up with us anytime in February. Some restrictions apply. For more information on our promotions and services, contact us at 0800-222-5388 or via our social media platforms. NextGen, powered by Central TV and Internet.
Everyone is at risk of catching COVID-19, so it's important to quickly recognize signs and symptoms of the infection. The most common symptoms are fever, dry cough, and tiredness or fatigue. Some people may also have sore throat, aches and pains, stuffy nose, or diarrhea. But a few people have also reported pink eye or conjunctivitis, headache, loss of taste or smell, a rash on skin, or change in the color of fingers or toes. Emergency warning signs that require immediate medical attention are extreme difficulty breathing, severe constant pain or pressure in the chest, becoming confused, unable to talk or move, bluish lips, face, fingers, or toes. For more information, call 0800-MOH-CARE. Help keep Belize safe.
It's a fact that you can access unlimited services with Smart. Tired of being measured or cut off when you need to be connected? It's a fact that when you sign up for Smart's Plus plan, you get unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data. And it's a fact that you can sign up with your group of up to 5 members for Smart's Share plans and up to 40 members for Smart's Enterprise plans for unlimited talk, text, and data. Smart has the true unlimited plans. That's a fact. Be smart and live smart.
$675,853 can be all yours with just one $2 Mega Bingo ticket. Don't miss your chance to win it all. Catch the next show airing on Wednesday, February 24th, live on Channel 5, Wave Radio, and Radio Bahia at 8 p.m. You can also tune into the game on YouTube and Facebook. Just log in and search for Belize Mega Bingo. Over $675,000 might just have your name on it, so don't let this opportunity pass you by. You might just be the next jackpot winner. Mega Bingo is the game.
Are you traveling? Effective January 26, all passengers traveling internationally will need to get tested no more than 3 days before you travel to the United States, and show your negative result to the airline before you board your flight. Here at Caring Hands Clinic in San Pedro, we administer the antigen test, frequently referred to as a rapid test. Our products are CDC compliant and FDA approved. Testing has never been this easy. With our highly certified and licensed medical staff, we provide you with an accurate test result in minutes, making your experience fast, safe, and easy. To book your appointments today, contact us on any of our hotlines at 671-TEST or 672-TEST, 226-FAST, or our Vonage line at 305-420-6203. Book your appointments online at www.belizecovidtest.com. Caring Hands Clinic Antigen Test Center. We're pleased to serve you.
Open your eyes. We're now moving into our third and final segment for the morning. This one is a conversation. It's going to be a conversation with reps of the Belmopan Cancer Society, and they'll be giving us an update on recent events. Now, in with us, we have Luke Ramos, who is the president of the Belmopan Cancer Society, and also Mr. Rodney Neal, who is immediate past president, Belmopan Cancer Society. Good morning, gentlemen, and welcome.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, Marlene. Good morning.
It's nice to have you guys in. We know, with respect to the topic, and of course, with respect to the word cancer, how difficult it is. Most of us, if not all of us, have lost loved ones to cancer in that big fight or that battle. Let's talk about the Belmopan Cancer Society and what's going on there to continue to spread the word and to continue the fight.
Sure. Thank you. Mr. Neal, would you share?
Okay, certainly. Well, the president will be speaking a little bit more about that eventually, but generally, we are involved with public awareness and education, and there are certain activities that we undertake to support the public awareness program that we have. We do education of the public in various ways by like a show today, like the TV show today, on the radio, and also in literature. And we do outreach also to the rural communities and collaborate with health-related agencies. We provide financial assistance also to people who are affected with cancer and need to get treatment, whether it's in Belize or abroad. So all of these are activities that we undertake in order to support persons who may be affected by cancer. Apart from the awareness, things like the candlelight vigil and the annual cancer walk. And then, of course, we do fundraising events. And again, I suppose the president can speak to this a little bit later on. But we do undertake fundraising events. And the funds from these are principally used to
Looks like somebody else is trying to get in touch with you there. But let me just jump in here and ask the biggest question I guess people want to know, want answered, is looking at how were you able to raise funds during the time of the pandemic? A lot of the usual fundraising activities really couldn't be done because of all the safety protocols we had in place.
Yeah, that is so true, Marlene. In fact, when the announcement was made in March, we were kind of hold back and said, well, what will we do now? And it wasn't until mid to the latter part of the year that we started to use technology to our advantage, thanks to Google Meet and Zoom and chat group. Now we were able to organize ourselves, and so most of our activities that we were able to accomplish took place in the latter part of the year. May, normally, we would have our annual cancer walk, which had to be postponed. And again, in October, normally we have what we call our Pink Gala. That is one of our most largest fundraisers. Again, that had to be postponed, canceled. But what we did, Marlene and John, was in October, being it where we observed Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we were able to do quite a lot of things in that month. We did a Wear Pink donation appeal. We did a tree planting ceremony, a virtual cancer walk. This was a small walk, which we did.
How do you do a virtual cancer walk?
Actually, we had we copied some of the programs that others were doing. And then we decided, you know what, let's get out there one Saturday, which was like the last Saturday in the month. A few members of us went out. We were few in numbers, but high in spirit. And actually, that event yielded a significant donation we got from BEL for that event. So we were glad that we kept that as one of the activities now. Besides that, in October, we completed our annual candlelight vigil. This again is a major event where we focus on those who may have lost the battle and those who have won the battle as well. No? Well, we did a month-long cancer awareness campaign on our Facebook. We used our Facebook to the advantage, and we got quite a lot of traffic to the page, to inform on cancer. Going down in November, we had our annual turkey fundraiser. Again, this yielded a significant amount of money for us. And then in December, we had what we call a Christmas hamper. We distributed Christmas hamper on behalf of BEL. We partnered with them, and we were able to reach out to the most needy people in the community, as well as in the rural and in Belmopan. And we joined that same event, and we also assisted some members in the Belmopan area. No? So all in all, it was very successful in that regard. No? Of course, when it came to we didn't stop there. The year didn't stop there. We went into February. February caught us where we focused on World Cancer Day.
Yeah.
And this is where my colleague would like to share a little bit more about what we did on that particular day. No?
Yeah. World Cancer Day is what day?
4th of February, Marlene.
It's the 4th of February. Okay, so that was earlier this month.
Right, right. Every year it's the 4th of February, whether it's Sunday or a Monday, whatever day it is. So what we normally do is that for World Cancer Day, we have been doing for the past several years is to provide free blood sugar and blood pressure tests to the community. But we couldn't do that this year, obviously, because of the pandemic and the social distancing, which is required. So what we did is that we organized an essay competition. We had 2 schools participating, Our Lady of Guadalupe High School and Belmopan Comprehensive School. And this was all done virtually, because what we did is that we did a webinar. Okay. So the essays were written by 2 students from each school, and it was judged by a panel of judges which we selected, and then we went into a webinar where the students, they read the essays that they had composed, and we had prizes for them actually.
What was the topic for the essay? What was the topic for the essay?
The topic was the significance of World Cancer Day.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. And what were some of the points that they brought out in their essays?
Well, the thing is that World Cancer Day, which they underlined it, is that everyone has a responsibility to provide some sort of assistance, whether to family or to friends. Each person individually should not just live, but they should live and do. And in fact, one of the themes, which is the one that we have this year and we've had for the last 2 years, is I am and I will. Okay, in words, you do not just exist, but you also do something with your life. You know, and for example, a couple of years before that, 2016 to 2018, the theme was we can, I can. In other words, it's togetherness. We need to do things. We need to do things together, and that has gone on very well. The winners for that essay competition was a comprehensive high school, Belmopan Comprehensive High School, and the 2 students that participated were Malachi Hyde and Kiren Koyok.
Wow.
They together got a prize of $300, which they shared equally, I think, I believe. And the other high school that participated also got $200. Our Lady of Guadalupe School got $200 to be shared with the 2 students who did the competition, Kaylee Flowers and Caitlin Rodon.
Wow.
So they also shared that among themselves.
But Mr. Neil, I could just imagine how compassionate, the compassionateness that actually came out of those essays. What was the judging criteria? What were you guys looking forward to?
Well, we used what is called a rubric, all right? And that involves not only the content, but also the grammar, the presentation, and various other aspects, you know? The students themselves and their teachers as well, let me say this, their teachers as well, were very, very impressed with the whole thing, and they said they learned a lot.
Yeah.
And it was a great joy to us, because one of the things we want to do is to involve more youth in the Cancer Society.
Yeah, yeah. You know, and that's part of the question that I wanted to ask, because John started off by saying we all across the country, if we don't have someone directly affected by cancer, we know someone who's been affected by cancer. Some have been able to overcome the battle, and some unfortunately have not. Tell us a bit about some of the cases that you see in Belmopan, and just how the society offers support to them.
All right.
Mr. President, yeah.
For Marlene, the financial assistance, the main reason for a lot of what we do, as Mr. Neil had identified, is either cancer awareness or to raise much needed funds to support those who are in need of treatment for cancer. And the 2020, we were able to assist about 8 families now from Belmopan and the surrounding area. In fact, our financial assistance program speaks to one, you have to be within the catchment area of Belmopan, as far as St. Matthews, as far as St. Margaret, Franks Eddy, United Vale, and Valley of Peace. So once you're in that area, you can apply to us now.
Yeah.
What we ask them to do is to submit a letter of application, include the doctor's prognosis, copies of your medical records, and then what we do, the screening committee will then look at it and see how much we can help. Now, depending on where you're getting treatment and the severity of your situation, we then determine what amount we could give. We can say that we give a maximum of $1,800 to assist any individual.
That's got to be a challenging job.
To seek medical treatment now. So the fundraising is so crucial every year. We need to ensure we raise funds so we can assist those that are in need of that fund. No?
Look, give us some insight there. When you sit with, on paper especially, stories and diagnosis, and these are real people who really just need help in trying to save their life. What's it like having to go through that screening process and making decisions like that?
Oh, it's extremely touching, Marlene, extremely touching. As a group, each time we wish we could do more for them, because the amount we give is just like a drop in the bucket now. Many of them needed much more than that, depending on where they're going, whether it's Mexico or Guatemala, or even some in the US now. And we just wish we could do more to help them to be able to overcome this disease. No?
How many people get treated locally that you see? Like, is it, like what percentage would you say?
I'm not sure in that regard, Marlene. We basically deal with we give the award, the assistance, and then we follow up with them basically, no? So it would only be those within our group that we would be following up every time to check, did they come back from treatment, how is the treatment going? Why we do that again, Marlene, because there is the opportunity for additional assistance. Once you're able to provide evidence that you have used the source appropriately, you can apply for a second assistance, you see?
Okay.
Rest of them. It becomes real sad when we would lose one of our person who applied to us, no? It's a very touching experience to work with it. I've had to be the chairman for the past 2 or 3 years, and it is an experience that we just wish we could do more.
And what's the demographic like? Are you looking at just older people, or the young people, types of cancers? Give us some insight to what you're seeing there.
Very interesting, Marlene. We have young and old. No, young and old. Our assistants call for, you would have to be under 70 years, but we have had applicants as well over 70 now.
Okay.
Now we have had as young as in the 20s as well, no?
Wow.
You know,
and different stages of cancer. I mean, how
different stages, different types of cancer. Yes.
Yeah.
And the fight is always a together one, and you've got a vibrant group going on there. I'm sure there are a lot of people who would like to become, especially for the fact that they've been directly impacted by this. How can one become a part of this group to channel the fight? Yes.
Wonderful question, John. Actually, we completed the year with our annual general meeting. Now that is when we re-elect the executive committee. Now, our 23rd annual general meeting was held on the 11th of February, and we had like Mr. Emil Agas, who served as our MC, Mr. Pastor Lance, who gave us invocation. We had the various reports, presidents, treasurer, welcome. Yeah. But we also had very highlight was 2 testimonials. 2 of our what we call those that we assisted were able to give their testimonial, and to us that was the most touching part of the AGM, no? Yeah. Where they shared their experience and what they have gone through. Yeah. That was followed by some recognition of our donors, those who support us, like DEL, the Barry, one particularly a member from the society, Zion Creation. We express our appreciation by giving them plaques or certificate, no? Yeah. And then we closed off by the new executive. If you may allow me to just list the new executive. We had myself as president, Victoria Forbes as vice president, Desiree Coleman as secretary, Evita Palma as assistant secretary, Darette Caetano as treasurer, Peter Agas as assistant treasurer, Rodney Neal as our immediate past president, which is an ex-official position. Okay. Beverly Swayze, our president emeritus, again an ex-official position, and 4 trustees, Ms. Wilma Neal, Mr. Steve Burns, Mrs. Sonia Burns, and Michael Kuss. Yeah. Now, why I named the executive? Because this is a group that will work on ensuring that we survive and we do better in 2021, no? Yeah. Already we are discussing our calendar of events and to see whether these larger fundraisers that we normally do will be possible. You know that right now with COVID-19, it's looking a little bit better in Belize. We're keeping our fingers crossed that come May or October, we could look and see if we could do a large event so we could raise more funds and reach others, no? and help more people. Yeah. What is important is that for us, a main thing is visibility, John, right? We need to do more so that the community know that we're there and that we're offering this service, no? Yeah. Yeah. And so, again, the number of members, we need to recruit more. One of our major events for 2021 is to strengthen our membership by doing a re-registration exercise, as well as reach out to more. And not just to more, but there is the goal is to look at a younger generation, okay. You know? Okay. To try to attract the youth, which the World Cancer Day was one of those initiatives where we got all excited about because it involved the youth, no? And we can't stop talking about it, no? Yeah.
Well, we do hope that more people. We do hope that more people will be, and that's a great part of having you here. When you tell us about the stories of the people who benefit from the work that you do, it really can inspire more people to want to join in and to support when they can. So we know that cancer is something, as we said very early on, affects so many families across the country. And that you guys at the Belmopan Cancer Society are doing your part in your own community. Thank you so much for joining us and for telling us the latest as to what's been happening. And we do wish you the best, and please stay safe.
Please share our contact number with us, no, please, our Facebook page and our telephone number so that they could reach us, no?
All right, so we'll have that.
Thank you, Channel 5, for assisting us, our members, our supporters, our donors. Thanks to all those who continue to support us. We look forward to your support in 2021.
All right. Well, Mr. Neal, Mr. Ramos, thank you guys so very much. We're about to take a break. We're about to take a break, and when we come back, we'll be wrapping things up. Stay with us.
If we are only as strong as our families, businesses, institutions, and the communities that surround us, then by giving businesses the power to grow, entrepreneurs the ability to expand, and by giving our families the right to own something, the Belize Bank gives you the power to build a nation, our nation. We are stronger together. The Belize Bank. Our country. Your bank.
Es un hecho que puedes obtener servicios ilimitados con Smart. ¿Cansado de que se corte la línea cuando más necesitas estar conectado? Es un hecho que cuando te suscribes al plan de Smart Plus, obtienes llamadas, textos y datos ilimitados. Y también es un hecho que te puedes suscribir con un grupo de 5 miembros al plan Smart Share y hasta 40 miembros al plan Smart Enterprise para llamadas, textos y datos ilimitados. Smart tiene los verdaderos planes ilimitados. Es un hecho. Sé Smart y vive de forma Smart.
And we are back.
Yep, just like that, we had 3 wonderful conversations. But I'll tell you what, the morning has just gotten started for us, as today is somewhat of a big day for us. Why a big day? Because today, as a matter of fact, not too long ago, Belize received its first 1,000 doses of vaccine, the COVID-19 vaccine. And on the screen as we speak, we could see actually how it's being taken out of the plane and being received by our folks.
So on hand for to receive the vaccines this morning was Minister Michelle Shabat and Acting Director of Health Services, Dr. Melissa Diaz-Musa. This is, of course, a donation that comes from the government and the people of Barbados. Prime Minister Mia Mottley made a request to the Indian government for vaccines, and when they got that shipment, they offered to us here in Belize 1,000 single doses of AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccines. Those vaccines, we had to facilitate the delivery here, and as you can see, there are our Ministry of Health officials on hand, ready to receive them. Now, 1,000 single dose vaccines means it could possibly be the 2 doses for 500 people, or if they will make a decision to, and these are things that we are yet to get answers from the Ministry of Health, and we'll find out if they'll give 1,000 first dose and then wait for that second dose to come from COVAX facility, which should be here at the end of March. This is a big step. Today, February 24th, is just about 11 months since we first detected our first case of COVID-19 in Belize. That first case was, of course, in San Pedro, and 11 months later, we have at least 1,000 COVID-19 vaccines. It's really a good feeling.
Our country, of course, are also anticipating the rollout of another bigger shipment, which should be sometime in at the end of March or the first week of April, or in April, which of course will be rolled out to the country. So there are a lot of questions, of course, that must be answered, and I'm sure throughout this week we'll be having highlights for you. We'll be asking those questions for you to make sure we're satisfied, or you're satisfied with the answers as to what the rollout is going to be, what the process is going to be, and who will be receiving those first.
So we do have some responsibilities here as we keep on watching this image. This is the flight that arrived this morning with the first batch of COVID-19 vaccines in Belize. And that's, of course, from a donation that came from the government and the people of Barbados. The flight arrived after 7 a.m. this morning. And there you have Acting Director of Health Services, Melissa Diaz-Musa, and Minister Shabat receiving what seems like a small box, but it's such a big deal for us as well. We'll have more on this story a bit later in our newscast tonight. But I do want to say as well that while we look at this 11 months after we first went into that instantaneous lockdown and state of emergency in San Pedro and all the subsequent safety protocols and changes that we've been through, that we're not, you know, it's not over yet.
No, it's
and
not.
we are seeing a decline in cases, and that's because we all have to continue to do our part.
Definitely.
Wearing our mask, watching our distance, sanitizing as much as possible, and just ensuring that we are being as safe as possible. You feel a little bit sick, stay home and contact the Ministry of Health.
Yeah.
It is the safest way for us to get through this.
At this particular point, after 11 months, we must continue to learn to love each other from a distance. Like you mentioned, Marlene, we will be having this information and much more in our 6 o'clock news report right here live on 5. What you're seeing as we speak is the first dose of the coronavirus vaccine donated to us by the government of Barbados. It is in Belize. It's only 1,000. We'll be asking those questions as to who will be getting them and when they'll be distributed. So we want for you to stay tuned with us. But like we mentioned once again, on 5, later on this evening at 6 o'clock, check out the newscast. We're so thankful to have had you with us this morning. To all our guests, thank you so very much. We're glad that you were able to wake up and started your morning right with us. If you've got any questions, any concerns, you could drop us a line at oye@channel5belize.com.
And you can also find us on Facebook at Open Your Eyes BZ and on Instagram at OYEBelieve.
You can check us out on, oh, you did Instagram.
Yeah.
So Facebook.
So tomorrow, you can tune in at
6:30 when you open your eyes.
Start your morning right.
We love ending it that way. Yeah. Up until then, keep your eyes, your minds,
and your hearts open. We'll see you soon. Enjoy your day, Belize.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.